Chapter 541, 1.1 million military merits. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. The Iron Lady's eyes were shining like two bright, cold stars. She looked down at the blood on her hands. Smiling coldly, she said, "You indeed live up to being number one on the heaven board. You react fast. You are very strong and able, too." As Zhang Yuochen felt around his neck for blood stains, the expression in his eyes gradually turned cold. The speed by which the Iron Lady struck was alarming and ruthless. Every single move of hers could kill. Confrontation with such enemies demanded caution. Any form of negligence could result in a terrible death. The Orange Star emissary who was standing behind Zhang Yuochen warned him, saying, "The Iron Lady is ranked the number 10 killer of the Blood Cloud Tower. Once, she assassinated a superior who had reached the 5th change in the Fish Dragon realm. She successfully completed the assassination mission. However, she was also seriously injured during that mission. Her opponent almost shattered her bones. A half cent from the Blood Cloud Tower set her bones back using a silver molybdenum iron alloy. Her new body is even more powerful than before. About half of her body is made of silver, molybdenum, and iron." Zhang Yuochen nodded his head in realization. No wonder the Iron Lady had not felt any pain when he pierced her with his sword. Such a half-man, half-metal killer was not easy to tackle. The Iron Lady gave the Orange Star emissary an icy look and said, "Orange Star emissary, you have betrayed the black market. This is unforgivable. All the evil warriors will be after your life once you return to Kunlun's field. Your subordination to Zhang Yuochen has ruined your future." The Orange Star emissary let out a scornful laugh and said, "Iron Lady, you have a strong body and a reasonable level of cultivation. However, it would not be difficult for me to kill you." What bold words! How befitting for someone who used to be a star emissary. The Iron Lady snorted and placed the auspicious vase into the metallic groove at her waist. She parted her feet slowly, and she started to shuffle her metal combat boots against the floor, producing tiny sparks from the warship fragments. She held her iron hands together tightly and said, "Orange Star emissary, if it were in the past I would have refrained from confronting you because of your status. But now, I'll be rewarded if I cut off your head and bring it back to the black market. It'll be much better for me to kill you than to kill 10 saints." Really? A star emissary will remain a star emissary, and a killer will be a killer forever. "You will die a tragic death if you come to grips with me." The Orange Star emissary shook her head and smiled. She had quietly begun to harness her chi and all her fingers began to emit icy cold chi. Two powerful blasts of chi rushed towards each other and collided in the space between the two opponents. Swoosh! In the next instant, the Iron Lady and the Orange Star emissary simultaneously pushed their feet off the ground. They looked like two shadows shot up into the air, and they began fighting fiercely. Bang! Like lightning, the two women attacked each other with a dozen moves. Aok Xinyan, who was standing on the debris of the warship, pulled out the Bishui dragon pattern sword while watching the two women fighting in the air. Then she said, "Group leader, would you like me to give Orange Star a hand?" Number. She can't become one of the 7-star emissaries of the black market if she can't even overpower the Iron Lady, said Zhang Yuochen. The Orange Star emissary had just reached the 2nd change in the Fish Dragon realm, therefore she had not accumulated enough depth, nor had she practiced any ghost-level martial techniques. Zhang Yuochen, however, had full confidence in her. Shouldn't a star emissary, carefully selected among thousands of candidates, and painstakingly nurtured by the saints, be capable of this? Zhang Yuochen raised his voice and said, "Orange Star emissary, I will reward you richly if you manage to kill the Iron Lady and to retrieve my auspicious vase for me." "Thank you," said the Orange Star emissary with a smile. That the Orange emissary was still able to answer Zhang Yuochen in this manner, while confronting an evil superior like the Iron Lady, showed that she was able to tackle her opponent effortlessly. Clomp! Clomp! Suddenly a subtle sound of running water could be heard from afar. Zhang Yuochen shifted his vision to look behind him, and he saw 7 humanoid fish approaching them. 3 of them, flying in midair, were like 3 circles of sunlight. They emitted a light so strong that it hurt the eye. The remaining 4 humanoid fish were swimming in the water. Since the Iron Lady has appeared, the other evil masters must be close by. They may ambush us anytime, So be on your guard while I deal with the humanoid fish. After Zhang Yuochen gave instructions to Erg Xianyan and Huang Yanshan, he grabbed the ancient abyss sword and jumped off what was left of the warship. He headed towards the 7 humanoid fish walking on water. Standing up to 7 humanoid fish on his own was indeed a great challenge. However, instead of feeling or looking fearful, Zhang Yuochen was very excited. To him, these were not merely 7 humanoid fish, but also a chance to earn many military merits. 4 humanoid fish of the 4th change in the Fish Dragon Realm and 3 humanoid fish of the 3rd change in the Fish Dragon Realm amounted to a total of 1.1 million military merits. Zhang Yuochen's primary goal was to reach the ultimate realm of the Heaven Realm. He was closer to achieving this goal than ever. Zhang Yuochen would certainly not tackle the 7 humanoid fish at close range. He would have no chance of defeating them if he did that. After all, the humanoid fish was extremely skillful in defense and impossible to kill by spiritual power alone. Unless it was attacked at its most vulnerable spot, even a holy weapon like the ancient abyss sword could not kill it. Swoosh! Zhang Yuochen tossed out the dragon lock chain while the closest humanoid fish was still over 300 meters away. Under the stimulation of its inscription, the dragon lock chain gradually expanded to the thickness of a human waist. It emitted sparks of lightning and fire and wrapped itself around the left fin of the first humanoid fish flying through the air. This humanoid fish had the power of the 4th change in the Fish Dragon Realm. The moment its fin was entangled in the dragon lock chain, it stretched both fins with an explosion of powerful force, pulling the dragon lock chain taut. Crash! How could Zhang Yuochen defend himself against this humanoid fish that had attained the 4th change in the Fish Dragon Realm? Zhang Yuochen felt a powerful pull from the dragon lock chain, dragging him through the air towards the humanoid fish. The humanoid fish stretched out its claws from the bottom of its abdomen. The 3 claws, all razor-sharp hooks, were aimed at Zhang Yuochen's abdomen. Zhang Yuochen somersaulted through the air and went over the claws. Simultaneously, he thrust his sword forward and struck the left eye of the humanoid fish. Pfffff. The ancient abyss sword pierced the humanoid fish's eyeball through to its head. Powerful sword chi exploded from the sword, and the humanoid fish's head turned into a bloody mess. In a flash, Zhang Yuochen retrieved his sword and flew over the humanoid fish's head. Swoosh! The dead body of the humanoid fish fell into the sea. Swoosh! Without any further delay, Zhang Yuochen cast out the dragon lock chain once more towards another humanoid fish of the 3rd change in the Fish Dragon Realm. Before this humanoid fish could dodge, the chain had already wound around it 20 times. Because its wings were chained tightly all around, it was unable to continue flying, and it started to go down. Swoosh swoosh. 2 golden holy swords flew out from the storage ring and pierced both of its eyeballs through to its body. In passing through the humanoid fish, the 2 holy swords eviscerated all of its blood vessels and organs. Zhang Yuochen was able to annihilate 2 humanoid fish consecutively and rapidly because he had found their weakness. The weakness of the humanoid fish was its size. Of course, another crucial point was that the humanoid fish was relatively low in its intelligence. Although the humanoid fish and the red cloud python were both level 5 savage beasts, the humanoid fish's intelligence was far inferior. What? After the tragic death of the 2 humanoid fish, the 5 remaining humanoid fish became furious. They flew towards Zhang Yuochen, surrounded him, and started launching crazy attacks at him. Bang! Bang! The dragon pearl started to emit dazzling light that encircled Zhang Yuochen to protect him. At the same time, 6 golden holy swords were suspended in 6 locations surrounding Zhang Yuochen. The 6 holy swords, under the control of the heart of the sword, attacked the 5 humanoid fish continuously. Space vortex. When Zhang Yuochen found an opportunity to utilize his space power, he harnessed the power into his fingertips and then struck out at one of the humanoid fish. A 2-meter space vortex tore open the air in front of his fingers as it struck the humanoid fish on the head. The scales on its head were smashed into pieces, and its skull was broken in half. Yet another humanoid fish descended into the sea. Standing in the mist, not far from the battlefield, were 2 evil warriors in black robes. They were none other than Huo Wuji and Huo Guang. Huo Wuji watched the battle between Zhang Yuochen and the humanoid fish from afar, and he said in a hoarse voice, Jiang Yuochen is using space power. Whenever he mobilizes that power, the tip of his fingers emit intense space fluctuations. Pure Guang said, "There's a hidden secret in Jiang Yuochen's body. If we could take him down and force him to reveal his secret regarding space power, we wouldn't need to submit to the green-robed emissary ever again in all that we do." Puo Wuji nodded. He clenched his fists, and said, "If I could lay my hands on the dragon pearl in Jiang Yuochen's body, perhaps I might be able to break through to half-saint realm in the remaining days of my life." "Grandpa, should we get to work?" Pure Guang held his 6-foot silver bone bow in his hand and looked towards the battlefield in the distance, itching to make his move. Puo Wuji threw a glance at him and said, "Now is not the best time." It may seem that Jiang Yuochen is strong and mighty because he managed to kill 4 out of 7 humanoid fish. However, he must have exhausted a huge amount of genuine chi by utilizing the holy weapon and space power. What's more, Jiang Yuochen also used several holy weapons simultaneously. Going like this, it will take all the genuine chi in his body to kill all 7 humanoid fish. Pure Guang's eyes lit up with sudden realization. He smiled and said, "Grandpa, do you mean we wait until Jiang Yuochen kills all the beasts and exhausts most of his genuine chi before we attack?" Puo Wuji looked like he had a card up his sleeve. He said with a smile, "He is like the mantis that stalks the cicada, unaware of the aureole behind. It will be a piece of cake to take down Jiang Yuochen." Pure Guang shifted his gaze towards Huang Yanshan and Ao Xinyan. However, Pure Guang only glanced at them and immediately withdrew his gaze. He did not think much of them as they were just 2 maidens, unworthy of mention.